Let's talk about functions some. It starts off in 4.1. And the way a function, functions are generally called functions in most languages. You hear them called goofy stuff in some other languages. I'm trying to think what I've heard them called. Yeah, a method. That'd be more of an object-oriented sort of a thing. But let's see if I can make this work. I need my marker. Got a function. So the function is it's a hunk of code that you want to be reusable. That's the whole thing with programming. You make as much stuff reusable as you can for various different reasons. Obviously, for to do the job easier. Also, it helps to reduce bugs. If you find a bug, you replace it in one place instead of 15 places in your code. If you ever notice that you're writing code, you're like, well, I've already written this once up here, and now I'm writing it again, and then a third time. That's when you should notice, hey, I should turn this into a function and make my code smaller, easier to understand. It makes a lot of sense from a lot of different direction. So you'll take a function. I'll use an ellipsis. A function either can or doesn't have to take parameters, stuff that you stick into it. You're going to feed it variables. You're going to feed it something to change the way that it works. And then blah, 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 blah. It either can or it doesn't have to return something. If you want to get something back out of that function, when it's done its calculations or whatever it needs to do, or just whether or not it succeeded, generally a function will tell you, yeah, I exceeded and I'm okay. Or no, I didn't succeed and something went wrong. Here's a list of things that could have gone wrong. I can return a 1 or a 2 or a 3 depending on what went wrong. So that gives you an idea of what a function is. I'm trying to stick with the book here. Let's just do one. I think is going to be the easiest way to understand it. DEF is how they're going to start. You are defining a function. Can't use a keyboard. It's the same as variables. You can't use something that's already in use. So I'm going to say add stuff. Tell it. Let's start off even easier. Say stuff. And I'm going to define it. The parentheses will say, okay, I'm not going to feed it anything. Quote, print, this is some text. Print is some more text. And I say shift enter and it didn't do anything. Any idea on why it didn't do anything? Yeah, what I've done is I've defined it. I didn't do anything with it. I just said, here it is. So I think I can even call it in a different cell. Let's try it. Say stuff. Bloop. It worked. So that is probably, that's kind of small, isn't it? There we go. That's about the simplest example of a function that there is. Not really handy. I've used functions like this to say, okay, something at the top, I want at the top of every page, or just text that I want splattered in different places. You could have a function that's this simple. It's not completely uncommon. Let's do something that's a little more common. If say stuff and say in. Got to have my colon there. Did y'all see what happened? If you just say enter, it put me back all the way to the edge, and I could see something was wrong because I didn't have my colon. I put my colon in, and it gives me the right place. So, yay. We're not going to do loops until next class, but for I in range n, tell you what, print this is some text. Say stuff for. Okay, that was a little flashy. We're going to hit this next class, but you get the idea. It says count from 0 to whatever I get to, 0 to 4. So whatever I put in here, it just does it that number of times. So this is my parameter going into it. Or a lot of times you'll hear the term argument. I think argument's used in mathematics too. Arguments into something. Define, add stuff, A, comma, B. So I can say X equals A plus B return X. So the other part of it is a return, and it means spit something out the other end. When you finish, return something. Now, you can pass several different parameters into a function. I've never seen a function or a method or anything that could pass more than one thing back out of itself. So you're just multiple things in, only one thing out. So let's try this. Add stuff, 4, comma 4, 5. Something went wrong.
There's not a colon after the second one?
Not a colon after what?
Wait, you have a space in between a comma and 5 on your add stuff.
That shouldn't matter. That's what I did to begin with.
What?
What?
Okay, that's really weird. I don't want to tell them to restart a console and mess up.
There we go.
Use the space after the B.
The space after the B did it? Is it really that goofy?
Mine has space
But I
after
was a
the B.
manager.
Ah, it worked. Well, it was bad looking code if nothing else. Okay. So I can take stuff in and I can spit stuff back out. Let's do another one. Define, say hi, A. I didn't realize this about Python. You're not having to tell it what type of value you're sending into it. I've never seen a language that did that. Normally you'd have to say integer A or string A or float A or something. Python's letting you get by with just, yeah, stick anything in there. I'll figure it out later. So
There are some instances where it is picky.
there.
Yeah, and some stuff that I've done with Python, programming a GUI, you have to pass it specific things, otherwise it throws errors all over the place.
Okay. Like I've been doing these in the same window. I think I can do them in the same cell. Say hi. Woo, woo, woo. What went wrong?
The plus A is true.
Take a look at my quotes. It did exactly what I said.
Yep.
This quote right here is in the wrong place. Y'all see my goof? I did that intentionally, just for learning. Yeah, let's put a space in there to make it a little bit better.
I knew it.
Okay. So what was different here? I gave it a string for an argument. So functions are handy. I've seen some programs that may have been 30, 40 pages long, but the actual guts of the program may have been 15 lines of that, because it'll say, take user input, if so-and-so, call this function, and this function is 2 pages further down in the thing. So it makes the code easier to read. Just everything's broken into functions. And also, if it's stuff that you're going to use later, you can say, here's a function, and I'm going to write it to a file, and I'm going to use it in other stuff later on.